Hi, everyone. Mary Esther Gilbert here, nutritional physiologist, and I am going to be sharing some excerpts from my upcoming book that's about to be published in hopefully in a month. And so it keeps getting pushed out because I keep getting more clients. And so I've been kind of busy with a lot of clients, and I haven't had a chance to go back and finish up the book. So it's basically pretty much done. But I'm so meticulous about my own writing. I go over my material several times. So I'm reading and rereading my books before I publish them all the time. So those of you who have filled out my contact form on my website, holisticchoices.com, and expressed interest in the book, then yeah, you'll be the first to know. So if you'd like, after we finish here and I show you the book a little bit, a little bit about the book, then you'll be able to decide if you want to purchase the book or not. But yeah, it's pretty much my flagship book. I've written other books before this one, but this is what I've been teaching my clients for over 45 years. It's my own nutritional synergy system, and it has more categories than any other nutritional guideline system out there. I don't like to call it a dietary system because that has negative connotations, because people think that they have to reduce what they eat to the point where they're starving, and then their body kicks in at a slower metabolic rate, and then their systems feel starved and hungry, so they start craving, foods that are high in sugar, high in fats, high in calories, and so their whole good intent about managing their weight just goes out the window. So that doesn't work. It never has worked. And so I'd like to explain a little bit about the human body and how it holds on to excess body weight. And so once you understand how the body works, then you won't look at, weight management or weight loss as something that always fails, because once you understand how the body preserves itself, then you'll be able to coax it into burning more body fat. But you also have to do other things, right? You have to also maintain your lean body mass, maintain your muscle mass, so you have strength and endurance to carry out the fat burning exercises. So this book that I'm showing you today is going to be sold hand in hand with another book, the Eating for Physical Power and Stamina book. And that's designed for those who want to maintain, more fitness and a more youthful figure and slow down the aging process. But exercise alone won't do that, and eating healthfully alone won't do that either. So I wrote the two books that are separate books, but they, if you get both of them, then you'll have a much more full understanding of how the body works and how to manage your weight, how to shift the ratio from the amount of lean body mass and lean muscles versus the amount of body fat that you have. So, so basically, the body's metabolism will speed up and your body will burn calories even when you're at rest. So the idea is to maintain a leaner body mass and then have the strength and stamina to do the aerobic exercises, which are, maintaining your heart rate at a certain level and maintaining that pace for at least 15 to 30 minutes about 3 times a week. And then also be conscious of the amount of energy input or food intake that you're taking in. So that's where my nutritional synergy comes in. My system is when you can pick and choose from array of different categories. My system has a lot more categories than any other food system out there. And the reason I did that is so that everyone can pick different foods, but also by the end of the day, you will have chosen a much broader, much wider array of foods and therefore nutrients that the body needs. So your body runs on nutrients. Your body runs on the calories that you take in. A lot of people think they have to count calories and weigh their food and all that. That's old misinformation. Okay, that's not how it works. So you have to just kind of start noticing how your body is reacting to what you put in it. And so the healthier and the more wider variety of foods that you take in, then the better your body will be able to adjust itself and decide where to utilize nutrients and to have enough energy left over other than your metabolic needs. So the body requires a lot of nutrients and energy, calories to maintain itself. And you have to have enough left over to have the energy to exercise, right? So the body utilizes most of the foods that we take in. So if you're taking in a nutrient-dense diet or food intake, then you're going to have a lot more energy than someone who takes in foods that are more nutrient devoid. Okay. So I'd like to read you a little excerpt from the book Nutritional Synergy that's soon to be published. In my book, there's a section called Truth Revealed: Why So Many People Have Health Problems and Why So Many People Have Trouble Losing the Body Fat. You know, they always feel like they fail at losing weight because they don't understand how the metabolism works, like I just explained. Eat enough so that you have the energy, and then work out. You'll have the energy to work out. You'll have the stamina. You'll have the desire to work out. People who drop out of gyms don't have the desire to work out. They dread going to the gym. They feel like they're making themselves going through torture, putting themselves through torture. But that's not really what's happening. Is they're just not replenishing their bodies so that the body responds to the stimuli of exercise and gets stronger and more fit and has more endurance and has more strength, and therefore you have more energy for other activities in your life. So there's this like that upward progressive spiral of being more and more fit as time goes on. Your body produces growth hormone, which is the youth hormone. And so that hormone is like a master hormone where it directs other hormones to produce the regulating hormones that maintain a younger body. So the trick to anti-aging is to maintain a stronger, more fit body, and that means a more highly nourished body. So that's why I wrote the two books. They go hand in hand. They explain my system in detail. And so this excerpt that I'm reading to you in a second is from the Nutritional Synergy System book that is going to be coming out. Okay, so I'm just going to try to make it as interesting as I can. Sometimes my reading tends to probably sound a little dry, but there's just so much to try to put into simpler words and try not to overwhelm the reader with the science of your nutritional physiology. There's no way you can get around the science. So I do my best to define my terms as I go, but I don't want to simplify it to the point where a lot of important information, a lot of knowledge that you need is going to be overlooked, or just bypassed. So don't want to do that either. So of course, I'm assuming my audience is intelligent. You people are intelligent out there. And so it's just a matter of giving you the right information, because there's so much misinformation out there that I want to try to raise your knowledge level so that you can recognize misinformation. Okay, so here we go. Truth Revealed: Why So Many People Have Health Problems. Providing the body daily with a wide variety of organically grown foods is the very foundation for true health and health recovery, as well as preventing degenerative or diseased conditions from occurring in the first place. The complex biochemistry of such nutrient-rich foods is exactly what the trillions of cells in the body are searching for in order to ensure the system operates at its optimal potential. A truly, totally healthful person is a highly and correctly nourished one. However, opposing factions with deep, sinister agendas have kept the population programmed into beliefs that have steered attention away from the healing power and health protective attributes of whole organic foods. The disease care system, by design, has for many decades kept the population from believing that health depends on to what extent the body is properly nourished. The masses have been drilled for many generations with the notion that doctors know best, even though in their long years of medical training, they have been indoctrinated with misinformation themselves that discredits or disassociates the true health information that leads you to the power of correct nutrition. Over time, people forgot about or were distracted away from the efficacious herbal formulations, for instance, and medicinal broths, soups and stews out of nutrient-dense botanicals and animal-derived nutrients that were passed down through the generations and that provided a vast array of healing, restoring nutrients. Instead, people were led to believe that allopathic practices of prescribing drugs were superior treatments, even though warnings posted about their harmful or dangerous side effects have been kept obscured from patients by physicians and just by other entities that want to influence the public, and that they're not our friends. Okay, so I mean, I never tell anyone to get off their medications, but it's been my experience that when they learn how to be thoroughly nourished, then the body chooses what it needs to do the healing process. And so taking drugs alone, there will be side effects, but if you're well nourished, there'll be less side effects, and your body will do the repair process. So when my clients go back to their physicians are somewhat puzzled, right? And so they say, well, just keep doing what you're doing, and they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to know, the scientific protocols that I put together for clients. I email it to them sometimes, or I have the clients just bring it to them. But sometimes, usually, doctors just won't look at it. They're afraid. I think they're threatened. They cannot direct their patients in this direction of natural healing, nutritional healing, which is an ancient mode of medicine in many indigenous cultures, goes back thousands of years. Humans have been robust and healthful up until the time that this allopathic medicine has come into the picture. So now with all the side effects of the meds, people are having some health issues. If you look up at Medline, which is the online database put out by the National Institutes of Health, you will see, you can look up your drugs if you're taking any medications, and it'll show the side effects of those drugs. And sometimes that's half the problem that people have. They start out with an ailment and they're put on these different drugs, and then they don't know that the side effects that they're experiencing are what the problem is. But our DNA is programmed to recognize the natural molecules that are in our foods. And so drugs take a different pathway, and they kind of take over. And sometimes the body does not have the choice of having the nutrients that allows it to return itself or recover itself, return to normal functioning. So it's a real battle going on in there between the side effects of drugs. And if you're not eating properly, then you won't have the benefit of the body being able to choose which molecules it needs to repair itself and recover in spite of the side effects of the drugs. That's been my experience over the years. So what happens is, that my clients go through the program and their health improves, and their doctors wean them off their medications. So it's up to the physician to take anyone off. Do not try to take yourself off your medications. That could be dangerous. Okay, so focus on on what the body truly needs to recover itself properly. Okay, back to the book. Okay, let's see, where was I? Over time, people forgot about or were distracted away from the efficacious herbal formulations and medicinal broths, soups or stews out of nutrient-dense botanicals and animal-derived nutrients that were passed down through the generations and that provided a vast array of healing, restoring nutrients. Instead, people were led to believe that allopathic practices of prescribing drugs were superior treatments, even though warnings posted about their harmful or dangerous side effects have been kept obscured from patients by physicians and other entities. Yeah, I just reread that paragraph. Sorry about that. All right, so people have been led to unnecessary suffering because of the relentless information or misinformation infiltration into the subconscious minds of billions of human beings over time, over generations. The conditioning of minds by the medical and pharmaceutical industrial complex has been accomplished so thoroughly as to instilling blind trust that patients have even overlooked or, in their desperation, have not heeded the warnings of the terrible and health-damaging side effects of drugs. Again, I'm not saying don't take drugs. Some of them can be very life-saving in emergency situations. But if you practice preventive healthcare, then you may not ever have to take any drugs. That's the goal. And if you are taking drugs, then the goal is to help your body improve itself gradually over time, and then have the physician make that choice, And that's just going the safe route, really, especially legally. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. I've got 2 bachelor's and a master's degree and 45 years of research, and so and I've seen I have experience in practice, over 45 years of watching people's health improve with my system, and then watching them get off the medications after their doctors have checked them, kind of thing. All right, so here we go. For a population to choose to take prescribed drugs with known adverse side effects, rather than choosing the safe healing power of time-proven botanicals used by humans for thousands of years, demonstrates the extent to which people have been effectively brainwashed. Over generations, a methodical building of distrust in the vast variety of healing foods and health protective botanicals has succeeded in maintaining a sick and innocent population, making sure that the public remained unaware of the nutrient-rich, health protective qualities of whole foods discovered through years of ongoing scientific research around the world. Thus, the majority of human beings has had little knowledge about how to recover from health problems that are preventable or reversible through correct optimal nourishment. Confusing, misleading, false information, and blatant lies to the public have prevented many a health recovery, leading people into the decisive trap that leads to the progressive degenerative health and disease pathway, and which is a multi-trillion-dollar worldwide conglomerate profit machine. Because of the propaganda operations distributed throughout the world by deleterious corporate-owned media, people have been cheated out of understanding that one's physical, mental, and emotional health and life performance are directly related to the level of knowledge and application of total nourishment for one's own nutritional physiology. Decades of distracting generations of people away from learning about the health protective, corrective properties of nutrient-rich organic whole foods, and programming people to not associate what they eat with their health conditions is a crime against humanity, considering the vast amounts of irrefutable evidence that complete and biologically correct nourishment actually prevents 99% of health problems and degenerative conditions. In the last 10 to 15 years, thanks to the multifactorial power of the internet, people can spread word or ideas about a subject to many thousands of people in a very short amount of time. We all know that now. Taken over many years, being a double-edged sword, since both beneficial and harmful information can be disseminated quickly to the masses, this has resulted in public confusion amidst an endless sea of conflicting information. There has been decades of keeping the right to knowledge obscure, or dismissing or even ridiculing the notion of foods as medicine, in spite of the vast amounts of scientific research archived on nutritional healing available to the public, found in government and university archives dating back to more than a century. So the science is there. It's there for anyone to search out and look at, but it's not publicly taught to the masses. It's kept hidden, it's kept obscure. And there's so much psyop and disinformation that's been infiltrated into the masses, into their minds, into their beliefs, into their trust. And so that's where the real crime is, because the knowledge that I have to share is life-saving, and it's illness reversing. I've seen the human body go to work and just perform miraculous healings, once the body's well nourished and it has a full array of all the known nutrients that's found in our foods, in the healthy foods, the foods that are grown properly and raised properly. Then the body just knows what to do with all of those molecules and just goes to work and repairs things. All we need is the right molecules in our bodies. So hidden in plain sight, the science is there, but is not broadcasted for all to learn. Given the far-reaching capacity for announcing information to the world via the internet, television, radio, and newspapers, it's a crime to withhold life-saving information, given the millions of people who have died from many life-threatening conditions that are actually reversible. Instead, running interference, distracting people away from the right knowledge that invariably results in optimal health vibrancy, has tragically resulted in a misinformed or completely oblivious population. Generations of mind programming has resulted in many still believing that drugs are the only answer and are to be completely trusted, despite the blatant warnings about their deadly side effects in advertisements on drug label inserts and government websites such as Medline. People have been so deeply programmed for several generations, believing that drugs are the only things to be trusted when it comes to health management, that they find it hard to believe that food is the absolute fundamental source for disease prevention, health recovery, and maintaining optimal health vibrancy and youthful longevity. By design, certain corporate entities and other negative factions that have come to own all systems that comprise our civilization have, in particular, kept the population misinformed about the proper care of the human body in order to control, manipulate, and exploit human beings for ultimate profitability and ownership of the world's resources. This may be a hard pill to swallow for some of you, so to speak. But after witnessing what the destructive and devastating effects of the self-reinforcing disease care system trap has had on countless clients and others for many decades, it has become very apparent that true health and healing is the last thing this fallen system is about. In client after client, they reported that as symptoms had become a progression of increasing health deterioration, with the compounding problem of adding more prescribed drugs in the attempt to counter previously prescribed drug effects, symptoms typically became more severe and health progressively further degraded. I've seen this over and over and over again. This is the state of health in which I often receive clients who were desperately reaching out to my services as a last resort, when sadly they could have been saved from much physical and emotional suffering had they been properly educated about their health in the first place throughout our civilization. As we cleaned up the biochemical mess their doctors had caused with the healing power of the plant kingdom and other nutrient-rich organic whole foods like quality proteins, the healing fats, and whole food carbohydrates, I saw health conditions become resolved and authentic health was restored. It's been my observation that effective personal health management information has been completely sabotaged, and that through the years, given the lack of knowledge people have had about their own human body, many have succumbed to the mass brainwashing having been instilled repeatedly into people's subconsciousness over generations. The controlling faction's plan has effectively succeeded in instilling mistrust in the very nourishment that is exactly what the body actually needs to prevent any system malfunctioning and to recover fully from all manner of ailments. Having long reinforced keeping the population sick and sheltered from the truth is only part of the long-established worldwide multi-trillion-dollar profit machine. Information about the health-protecting, life-saving effects of whole nutrition has been effectively discredited by the various industries that profit massively from a sick and uninformed population. Fortunately for humankind, more of the population has been awakening to this widespread and deeply infiltrated control over the health freedom and other aspects of our lives. With the growing momentum of true health empowerment, more people have been discovering the freedom of real health vibrancy, having avoided or properly recovered from the many common health conditions that have otherwise plagued the population for too long. However, it must become more widely known that proper nourishment is the key to a healthy population. which in turn is the foundation for a peaceful, intelligent, and productive civilization. For humanity, taking back control of food production through supporting local organic farmers is the solution to hunger, restoring and perpetuating a thriving ecology, which directly has a positive impact on local economies. Collectively, successful, thriving local economies rely on the holistic stewardship of us human beings. Maintaining a culture of mindfulness with earth regenerative practices ensures a continuous, plentiful food supply and resource abundance. Replacing nutrient void and toxic methods of mass food production that harm human health and the environment with the aforementioned higher yield, nutrient dense regenerative methods are not only for the benefit of local communities. Using nature as the example of how to create abundance, such regenerative practices are also the foundation for the success of the national economy, which has a positive effect on the economies of other countries in the world. So it all starts in the garden, you know, whether it's in your patio, you're growing food out of pots, or if you have an acre where you have a self-sustaining, you know, homestead, or if you have a backyard that's large enough to grow food, you'd be surprised how much food you can grow in a small space. To massive food production, you know, acres and acres and miles of land that can be recovered and nourished again to produce nutrient-dense foods and to produce grow foods so that you create this whole ecology, you know, and mimic the wild food forests out there. So there's so many ways now that have been proven in the last 30 years and even beyond. In the past, there are food systems out in the world that have been replenishing themselves and regenerating themselves for generations upon generations. I think the oldest food forest that I've read about was like 2,000 years old, you know, still producing, still improving the ecology and constantly reinforcing itself, regenerating itself naturally. So, you know, we need to regenerate the earth that way. And therefore, you know, there should be food growing everywhere. You know, some towns in the world have been just producing food everywhere, you know, so no one goes hungry. You can walk down the street and pick your groceries for the day, kind of thing. Now, doesn't that sound awesome? Just not only creating a greener, healthier earth, but also creating a healthier population and really solving a lot of economic problems. Okay, so I could read on, but maybe I'll just stop right here. You know, I keep going on. I talk about the regenerative and organic farming and permaculture, which is the food forest concept. Very, very successful in producing large amounts of foods. And these regenerative permaculture, organic ways of growing foods, nourish the soil. They take out the greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. They sequester them into the soil so the plants can utilize those gases and transform them into food. You know, so there's it's such a beautiful way the earth knows how to regenerate itself and create more abundance. That way we could just cooperate with it and not allow entities that are power hungry or have specific, you know, sinister agendas that are reducing the population. You know, we have a sick population, and I've been on this mission, this quest for the last 45 years to improve the health of the population. I hope I've made a dent in it. You know, it seems like the people who follow my program, they get healthy, and then they are just with their own vibrational health, you know, their own vibrational frequency. They're so full of light and life that they actually influence others. Even if they don't say anything, their very presence is so charismatic that at the cell subatomic quantum energy level, they are having a positive impact on those around them. So you never know how much you are influencing someone or inspiring someone just by being your higher self, the best version of yourself that you are working on and always improving on and maintaining, you know, your optimal health vibrancy. That makes so much difference in the world, more than we realize. So anyway, with that, I will leave. I will close this video. I hope you enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm recording on Zoom, and this is the first time I've recorded on Zoom. I've been using the other platform for years and years, and I was really stuck on it. I was really comfortable with it, but this Zoom platform is superior. I mean, it has better, you can match what the person is saying with how their mouth moves. The audio matches, it's in sync with the video, right? So I'm hoping that this will be an improvement. And it looks like the video quality is better too. All right, so thank you so much for hanging in there with me again. Please like the video. That way, the algorithms, on YouTube will allow other people to it'll appear in what they're interested in, and it'll appear when they look at their YouTube videos, and then it'll pop up. And also, if you share, then that'll happen even more so. If you subscribe, you can. If you haven't already done so, I really appreciate the new subscribers lately. It's climbing. Yeah, you can subscribe and then be notified. Tap that notification bell and you'll be notified. And if you're interested in looking at my website, it's www.holisticchoices.com. I will post whatever links are applicable, in the description below. So thanks a lot for joining me. And I really am starting to feel more comfortable in front of the camera. And just talking to you out there. At first, I forgot that I was speaking to some awesome people that are out there that are searching for this kind of information. So I was a little bold this time with the video. There's so many things I want to say that without worrying about being censored. There's a lot of things that I didn't say before, but today I was a little more bold, and it's in my book. I get pretty bold in my books. So yeah, the work that I'm doing with other companies, I want to protect the companies, and so I don't go into this kind of boldness, this kind of outright, just blatant truth that people need to hear out there. Okay, and I'm hoping that this resonated with you this time. Okay, so thanks a lot. I will leave you now. True health and health vibrancy, and yeah, just try out my books and try out my system. You won't regret it. It's going to be awesome. All right, thanks. Bye.